It is with deep sorrow that we report the passing of Pope Francis, who left us recently after a brief period of declining health. As one of the most influential religious figures of our time, his death marks the end of an era for the Catholic Church and the world. His legacy as a humble and compassionate leader will surely be remembered by millions. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio on December 17, 1936, in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Pope Francis rose from humble beginnings to become the 266th Pope of the Catholic Church. Known for his deep humility, commitment to social justice, and efforts to reform the Church, he made an indelible impact on both the spiritual and global stages. Some of his most notable achievements included his focus on environmental issues, with his encyclical Laudato Si, calling for greater care of the earth, and his advocacy for the poor and marginalized. He also sought to bridge gaps between different religious communities and promote peace. Throughout his papacy, Pope Francis became known for his openness, compassion, and willingness to challenge the status quo, often addressing issues of inequality, immigration, and climate change. However, despite his numerous achievements and popularity, his papacy was not without challenges. He faced both internal opposition from conservative factions within the Church and external scrutiny over the Vatican's handling of sexual abuse scandals. In the weeks leading up to his death, Pope Francis's health began to decline. While he had already been facing health issues, including a previous surgery to remove part of his colon, it was a stroke that ultimately led to his passing. The stroke caused him to fall into a coma, followed by irreversible cardiac arrest. Despite efforts to stabilize him, Pope Francis passed away peacefully in his residence at Casa Santa Marta in the Vatican, surrounded by loved ones. In his final days, Pope Francis expressed gratitude to his healthcare assistant, who had encouraged him to make his last public appearance on Easter Sunday. His words before passing were simple yet poignant, reflecting the peace and spiritual calm that had marked his life. "I am at peace," he is said to have remarked, showing no sign of distress. While these words were deeply meaningful to those close to him, some might find it surprising that the Pope, a man of such profound wisdom and experience, did not leave a more elaborate statement about humanity or his thoughts on the future of the Church. This simplicity could be a reflection of Pope Francis's humble nature. However, it also leaves some wondering whether there are deeper meanings hidden within his final moments. The Vatican, known for its vast archives of knowledge, holds many secrets and historical documents, which raises the question, could there be something more profound he wished to say, but for reasons unknown, chose not to? Or perhaps the simplicity of his words was part of a greater spiritual reflection on peace, the Saint Malachy prophecy. For many, the passing of Pope Francis sparks a renewed interest in the saint. Malachy prophecy, a controversial and widely discussed prediction that is said to foretell the identities of the popes up until the final pope. The prophecy, attributed to St. Malachy, an Irish bishop of the 12th century, consists of 112 short phrases or mottos, each one believed to describe a future pope. These phrases are often cryptic, making them open to wide interpretation. One example of a past pope who fits the St. Malachy prophecy is Pope Leo IV, the 50th pope in the list. According to the prophecy, his motto is Lupus defulum, the wolf from the forest, which seems to align with his papacy. The term wolf symbolizes strength and fierceness, and in Pope Leo IV's case, It represents his fierce defense of the Church during a period of significant external threats. He reigned from 847 to 855, a time when Viking invasions were threatening Rome and the surrounding regions. Leo IV's efforts to fortify Rome and protect the papacy from these invasions demonstrate the wolf aspect of the prophecy, his strength and resilience in the face of danger. The second part of the motto, "From the Forest," could symbolize the dangerous and wild times in which Leo IV led. With external threats looming large, Leo IV worked tirelessly to rebuild and restore order in the Church. His papacy was marked by fortification projects, including the construction of the Leonine City around the Vatican, which helped protect the Pope and the Church. This defense of the papacy in a turbulent period aligns with the Lupus Defulum motto. The 112th and final Pope is said to be the last pontiff before the end of times, referred to as Peter the Roman. According to the prophecy, this final Pope will oversee the destruction of Rome and the ultimate judgment of the world. Pope Francis, the 111th Pope. While Pope Francis is officially the 266th Pope in the historical list, according to the St. Malachy prophecy, he is considered to be the 111th Pope. The prophecy's Gloria Olivae, the glory of the olive, is said to align with Pope Francis, with the olive symbolizing peace and reconciliation, principles he has strongly advocated for throughout his papacy. But the prophecy doesn't stop with Pope Francis. The 112th Pope, known as Peter the Roman, is expected to mark the end of the Church as we know it, according to some interpretations. This final Pope is believed to preside over a time of great turmoil, leading to the collapse of Rome and the end of the world, signaling the ultimate fulfillment of prophecy. Could Pope Francis be the 112th Pope? Despite the common belief that Pope Francis is the 111th Pope, there is a minority view that he could in fact be the 112th, the final Pope, Peter the Roman. Why? There are a few intriguing points. Roman blood. Some believe that Pope Francis's Italian heritage, particularly his family's origins in Piedmont, Italy, connects him symbolically to the idea of Roman blood, which could tie him to the figure of Peter the Roman in the prophecy. Chaos and change. The state of the Church and the world in recent years has seen growing chaos and change, with global political unrest, the rise of populism, and the ongoing challenges within the Church itself. This turbulent period could be seen as a precursor to the fulfillment of apocalyptic prophecies, leading some to speculate that Pope Francis, despite his status as the 111th Pope, could indeed be the final one. The fact that Pope Francis faced both internal opposition and external scrutiny also showcases that he might indeed be Peter the Roman. What will happen with the next Pope? If the prophecy is to be believed, the next Pope, referred to as Peter the Roman, will be the last Pope who will preside over the destruction of Rome and the end of times. The Church, as we know it, will face a period of unprecedented tribulation, and the prophecy hints that this Pope will face intense trials before the final judgment. While the idea of the end of the world is metaphorical for some, others believe it indicates a dramatic transformation within the Church. Peter the Roman will likely be a figure who will experience enormous pressures from external forces, with the fate of the Church hanging in the balance. It's hard to say with certainty whether Pope Francis is the 111th or the 112th Pope in the St. Malachy prophecy. We'll just have to wait and see. If another Pope follows him, it will likely be the last one, fulfilling the prophecy's vision of Peter the Roman. However, there's also the possibility that Pope Francis, with his Roman blood heritage, might actually be Peter the Roman mentioned in the prophecy, especially given how the interpretation of the motto isn't always so rigid. One thing is for sure: the time for the papacy is nearing its conclusion, and we are getting closer to the end of the prophecy. Something significant could be on the horizon, and the next pope, if there is one, will likely play a pivotal role in this unfolding mystery. Craig Hamilton Parker, a well-known psychic medium from UK, also talks about this event in his podcast. In the podcast, Craig Hamilton Parker envisions a significant transformation within the Catholic Church in the future. He believes that the Pope's role will evolve, potentially becoming more symbolic and less administrative, similar to how the English monarchy shifted to a figurehead role after the Civil War. This shift could mark the end of the papacy as we know it, aligning with St. Malachy's prophecy that speaks of the 112th Pope being the last. Hamilton Parker also predicts that there will be a more tolerant, open-minded approach within the Church, embracing spiritual diversity and acknowledging other religions. He foresees a future where the Pope may even kneel before a saint from the East, someone who bridges religious divides, signaling a major reconciliation among faiths. These changes, while gradual, will align with a broader awakening of spiritual unity across the world. Brandon Biggs, the famous Christian pastor and seer who saw the Trump incident, shares a vision of significant spiritual and prophetic changes in the Church, much like Hamilton Parker's, but with a focus on the role of prophecy and the future of Christianity. Biggs believes that the Church is entering a time of great awakening, where prophetic insight and the search for truth will lead believers to a deeper understanding of the divine. He emphasizes that the Christian faith will be called to adapt and evolve, embracing a new age of spiritual awakening that incorporates both traditional teachings and fresh revelations. Biggs sees a future where Christianity will confront the need for change in its doctrine and practices, leading to a more inclusive approach to spirituality that acknowledges the interconnectedness of all faiths. In this vision, prophecy and spiritual insight will play a key role in guiding the Church, with a growing awareness of the importance of unity among the world's religious traditions. In Conversations with Nostradamus, Dolores Cannon recounts a remarkable encounter where she connected with the famed 16th century prophet through a past life regression session. During a routine hypnosis session with a woman named Elena, Cannon was taken aback when Elena revealed she had been a student of Nostradamus in a past life. To Cannon's astonishment, Elena conveyed that Nostradamus himself wished to communicate directly. This unexpected connection marked the beginning of a series of dialogues where Nostradamus provided detailed explanations of his cryptic quatrains, offering insights into future events and humanity's potential paths forward. The book revealed profound insights about the future of the papacy, the role of the Antichrist, and the ultimate downfall of the Catholic Church. According to the prophecies, the present pope mentioned in the book will be assassinated during his travels, not due to external attacks on the Church, but because of his efforts for world peace, which conflict with established powers. This leads to significant unrest and riots. The next pope, although elected soon after the current pope's death, will have a very short reign, as he will be assassinated by the Antichrist's forces for not complying with their demands. Nostradamus further reveals that after these tragic events, the last pope, the Petrus Romanus, will rise. This pope will be a tool of the Antichrist, ultimately leading to the destruction of the church. His blood is described as poisonous in the chalice, symbolizing the harm he will do to the church. His reign will be short-lived, and his impact on the church's fate will be irreversible. Canon's regression reveals that this pope, born with physical deformities, had a painful past that shaped him into a susceptible figure for manipulation by the Antichrist. The prophecy suggests that this pope's influence will be a sign of the end of the church, and once he is removed, the collapse of the papacy will follow. This aligns with the themes of decay and betrayal within the church, leading to the eventual downfall as predicted by Nostradamus, where the papacy's ship will be lost to its greatest detriment. If you're interested in her work, we'll cover more topics from her book in the future. Nevertheless, some psychics and mediums interpret the predicted end of the church as a positive event, viewing it not as the destruction of the church, but as a step toward world unity and interconnectedness. This perspective offers a hopeful outlook, suggesting that the breakdown of traditional structures could open the door to greater spiritual awareness and collaboration across different belief systems. It echoes the ongoing debate surrounding the concept of the end times, where some see it as a period of evil and disobedience, a departure from God's will, while others view it as a spiritual awakening, a time when people break free from outdated habits and rigid traditions to embrace a more universal truth. This contrast is part of a larger discussion about the evolving nature of faith and spirituality and the role of religious institutions in a changing world. As we look ahead, the question remains, will the next pope truly be the Peter the Roman, as foretold in the prophecies, or will the papacy evolve into something different entirely, marking a new era for the church and the world? Leave your thoughts below, and let's explore these ideas together.